Hi everybody, I'm Ryan. Today we're going to talk about Magic news for the previous week. We're going to talk about Paper Magic, Magic Arena, and Magic Online. Sets coming out, competitive stuff happening, but everything you need to know about Magic the Gathering. They released the mechanics for Phyrexia All Will Be One. The first mechanic is Toxic. Toxic is kind of like Infect, in that your opponent gets poison counters when they are dealt damage by a creature with Toxic, but they get poison counters equal to the number that they are toxicated. So if they're Toxic 1, even if they have 5 power, your opponent's only going to receive 1 poison counter. As opposed to Infect, where if they have 5 power and have Infect, your opponent would receive 5 poison counters when they're dealt damage. I think this is the way to kind of dial back on the idea of pumping up a 1/1 for 1 Infector and hoping it's good enough. On top of Infect, a new mechanic around your opponent having poison counters is introduced called Corrupted, where cards will do something a little bit better once your opponent has 3 poison counters. It's a possibility that this mechanic will incentivize decks to put poison counters on their opponent to make their cards more powerful, as opposed to it being their primary win condition like it was previously with Infect creatures. But we'll see. For Mirrodin is a new mechanic as well. For Mirrodin, sort of like a playoff of Living Weapon, which was found in the previous new Phyrexia set. But For Mirrodin is essentially these Mirrans that were taken over by Phyrexia are not quite done fighting yet. And some equipments in the set will have For Mirrodin as a mechanic, and when that equipment enters the battlefield, just like Living Weapon, the equipment will attach to a token, but this time it's not a Germ token, it's a 2/2 Rebel token that the equipment will immediately attach to. It's kind of cool. Oil counters are introduced, referring to Phyrexian oil. Oil counters have no specific mechanic related to them, but some cards require oil counters to be on it to activate certain abilities, and some cards put oil counters on permanents, and so that's something to be aware of. Proliferate is back, where you get to increase the number of counters on anything when Proliferate happens. So this includes Planeswalkers, this includes +1/+1 counters, oil counters, poison counters. It's really a very powerful mechanic, especially in a set that supports it. The Phyrexia All Will Be One Commander deck lists were released. The 2 big deck lists being Corrupting Influence and Rebellion Rising. Be sure to look those deck lists up if you want to see more of that. The Lunar New Year is this weekend, and so in ringing in the Year of the Rabbit, the Asia Pacific region will get to celebrate their APAC League at WPN stores that will feature certain promos. The events will be sealed, booster draft, or standard at your local WPM store if you're in the Asia Pacific region. And there's some pretty sick promos associated with it. The list, quote unquote, has been updated. The list, meaning that extra weird card that's not in the set, that's in the back of booster packs that you open, that list has been updated. Bunch of cool new cards added to the list. I like when they add stuff to the list because it slowly brings that price down. New cards to the list include Kaldeim Complete, Sword of War and Peace, Sword of Feast and Famine, Geth's Verdict, Route, bunch of cool cards. The new story series, the new story is continuing in the Assault on New Phyrexia that I believe is 5 episodes deep now. If you want to read more of that, make sure you go to the Magic Online website of these Planeswalkers assaulting New Phyrexia and trying to take down the Phyrexians. And slowly they become completed one by one. Pre-orders for Phyrexia All Will Be One have begun on Magic Arena, which come with some pretty cool perks and bundles giving you avatars, special card skins, play-in points. It's kind of cool. The arena open this weekend is Kaldeim Sealed, so I hope you've been preparing for that. The next qualifier play-ins are the Best of 1 qualifier play-in on February 18th, which will be Phyrexia All Will Be One Sealed. Best of 3 qualifier play-in will be February 24th, and the qualifier weekend will be the following day on February 25th and 26th, all Phyrexia All Will Be One Limited. There are also some Alchemy and Historic balancing changes on Magic Arena. The big one that everybody's talking about is Goblin Trap Finder has changed from this spell's cost 2 less to cast to the spell cost 1 less to cast, which is really going to change some major decks in Alchemy and Historic. And some activated abilities and mana costs of a bunch of other cards got changed, but very few of these are going to affect formats quite as much as the Goblin Trap Finder. The big thing that they did besides Goblin Trap Finder was make spirits cost less and make spirits a little bit better. And the justification for that was that spirit cards often don't have enough mana to support casting cards for the disturb costs. So you weren't able to have good decks like that, like spirit decks like that. So they made a bunch of the spirit cards a lot better, made them cost less, etc., etc. And the same thing with Samurai. The 2022 Season 3 Magic Online Showcase is this weekend, which will include 8 of Magic Online's best players to compete for $70,000 and 2 invitations to the World Championships. I have a horse in the race, somebody that I've competed against quite a few times at Grand Prix and different Northeastern events. Good luck, Kane. Cheering for you. Dominaria Remastered is on Magic Online on January 26th. They're changing the preliminary and challenge schedule by making 2 of the preliminaries on Friday nights Pacific time to small challenge events. So Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, instead of a prelim, it is now a 32-person challenge. Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, instead of a prelim, is a 42-person modern challenge. And then Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, there's another 32-person modern challenge. Just to give more challenges, I think it was really difficult for people in the Asia-Pacific region to be able to play in these exciting tournaments. There are 2 super qualifiers this weekend. One is modern, one is limited. I'll be playing in both. I hope to see you there and hopefully beat you. Only 1 week left of Vintage Cube. If you want to play Vintage Cube, make sure you go do that. And that is it for Magic Online news this week. It was quite a bit. It's always really exciting when new sets come out, and there's a bunch of exciting, like, competitive stuff going on as well. If you like this video, if you want to see more videos like this every week, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social medias. Links are above me and in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.